To Amazing Time right here on your Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM, broadcasting live from Abuja, Nigeria. I want to welcome you all to this very particular event tonight, knowing too well that it's going to be a very hot conversation, and at the same time also something that is going to unseat many of us when this very particular topic is going to be addressed tonight. I just want to say a big thank you to our sponsor for this very particular show, Charlotte Prime Homes, who is currently offering a 500 square meter of land. And if you are interested in getting your 500 square meter of land in Karachi, which is Abuja, Nigeria, I want to encourage you. Their current price is going for 1.2 million naira. And so please make sure that you do business with them by giving them a call on 070 733 16184. 070 733 16184. This very particular conversation is proudly sponsored by Charlotte Prime Homes. For those of you, today is the very first time of joining us tonight. I remain your host from now to 9 o'clock as the Afropolitan Apostle, where we'll be talking about all things African. At the same time also for today, we are going to be narrowing it down to the Nigerian side of things and to see how we begin to bridge the gap and also to be able to solve the problems that we are all currently facing when it comes to the concept of Nigerian. I think I remember somebody was asking me about a few days ago, literally I think it was on Monday, that why do you call it the voice of a new tribe? And I was laughing in the sense that currently now you and I know too well that we are still fighting between the old voice and the new voice. And so the voice of a new tribe are those ones who literally represent generations of Africans and African descendants who are bold, they are very innovative, they are not afraid of anything, they literally want to do what needs to be done, they are pushing to shape a better future for Africa. And at the same time, this very particular new tribe, it has nothing to do with age, it has nothing to do with your political position, it has nothing to do with even the money in your bank account. These are progressive mindsets of people who literally want to make something good out of the country or probably out of the continent where we represent, which is known as Africa. And so for those of you who are still wondering why the voice of a new tribe, is the fact that we do three things, which is very important for us, is the fact that number one, we are all about renegotiating African narratives. Number two, championing ethical leadership. And finally, looking forward and bridging the gap between generation, nations, ideology, and its people. And so with that being said, on tonight's conversation, we are going to be looking into all things Nigeria. And I think when I posted the thing out about a few hours ago today, and I get a lot of inbox, and I think as I was coming, someone was even calling me outside of the country, I think to be precise in Canada, permit me not to mention the name of the person. And I'm just talking about how to see this whole issue of today's topic. For those of you who follow us on our social media platform, you would have been able to see the topic, which is, I think before I even bring that very particular one out, question I want to ask you all tonight. Do you still think that you can invest in the current Nigeria today? The current Nigeria that you and I are seeing, the current Nigeria that our president is currently there, the current Nigeria that has the Senate, that has the House of Rep, that has all of this very particular guy, the current Nigeria that have your governor. If you were to be able to actually invest in the correct Nigeria, will you still do it? And this also includes also those in diaspora. Do you think you still have the capacity for you to be able to come back home and invest in the correct Nigeria? Or is something that you have said to yourself, enough is enough. I'm checking out of this very particular thing and I'm going to make something good out of this very particular stuff. With that being said, I think we'll just want to go play some certain things and then just to be able to keep us awake to the reality of what this very particular conversation is all about as you get to understand what the AfriOne show Voice of a New Tribe is as we quickly go listen to this. And I'll come back and bring the topic and I'll call the number. Then we can then start our conversations on tonight's what's it called, AfriOne show Voice of the New Tribe. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back just now. The future of Africa is speaking, and that's exactly what we're looking at tonight when it comes to the Nigeria of things. This time we're not looking at the Africa of things. And so based on that, the topic we're addressing tonight, which is going to be something that I choose to believe that you and I will have to be able to talk on this one and to see literally how we can then be able to create a proper solution to the current Nigeria. And so for those of you who are listening to this very particular show, please, I want you to understand that every conversation that is going to be coming coming out on this very particular platform has nothing to do with Armed Forces Radio and its stakeholders, and every opinions and voices that is going to be coming on this very particular show is solely the independent views of the people and has nothing. Remember that this very particular show is not political motivated, neither it is for us to be able to cause any chaos, but for us to be able to have conversation that shift narratives, ideology that can shift the mindset, and at the same time progressive conversation that seeks to give us a better future for the country Nigeria. With that being said, the topic of tonight is this: who truly owns Nigeria? Who truly owns this country? I know that for many of you, literally, you understand the story of how Nigeria was formed, and I'm going to be trying my possible best for me to be able to just put some parameters around the Nigeria of things. Because most of the times, and many of us, literally, we were born into the Nigeria without us understanding the history of how Nigeria get to where Nigeria is now. And by the time I'm going to be bringing this, if you want to cut my conversations and for you to be able to talk, please, you can definitely give us a call on 0803744 1154 0803744 or you can give us a call alternatively on 081 277 93453 081 277 93453. And for those of you who do not want us to call your name, please, when you are calling, and I ask what's your name and where you're calling from, please just say anonymous, especially if you know you have a lot of things to say that can literally help us understand this current Nigeria. And please understand that the conversation is not all about taking us to the past, but it's the fact that we need to understand what has happened in Nigeria thus far and what needs to happen for Nigeria to become, lack of a better word, the giant of Africa. I have my opinion about that very particular statement of Nigeria still remaining the giant of Africa. I choose to believe that we have lost that very particular title simply because of the obvious reason where you and I, we know. But if you still believe that Nigeria is still the giant of Africa, well, you can bring your opinions and we can deliberate on them. And please understand that it's just an opinion and it is not a concrete conversation that will be used against anybody in the court of law. With that being said, who truly owns Nigeria? Who owns Nigeria? Whether you and I like it or not, we are seeing all of the thing that is going on. I know for somebody, literally, you may be looking and saying, no, but Nigeria is owned by Nigerians. But if you think that Nigeria is owned by Nigerians, how come the Nigerians living in Nigeria are currently frustrated? How come the Nigerians living in Nigeria literally are struggling for them to literally have food on their table? How come the Nigeria that we're currently living in, we have leaders who do not even understand or probably get to understand what the average Nigeria is going through? I think I'm saying this because I remember I was watching a particular video. You know the video. The video is literally out there because it's in the public domain from AfriOne doctor. And he was talking about a city called Ilorin. Ilorin, the capital city, is called Kwara State. The state is Kwara. And so he was talking about the whole concept of the health sector in Ilorin as a whole. And apparently a particular lady make a comment saying that as the whole of Ilorin is concerned, there is literally no MRI, center in Ilorin. And this is a very important healthcare facility that is needed, but yet you still see everywhere that this very particular governor or whatever is doing in Lorry, you hear them commissioning ultra-modern hospital. And it's quite interesting for me when I hear them commission all those ultra-modern hospitals. The question I ask myself, how come your children are not going to those ultra-modern hospitals? How come you, when you are sick, you decide to fly out of the country? So the question we need to ask ourselves, is it really an ultra-modern hospital, or is just a hospital that literally is ultra for the people, but not for them at the class where they are currently living? And so with that being said, when I saw the video, it literally almost coincide with what we're going to be talking today as to who truly owns Nigeria. For those of you who are literally in your state, in the 36 states of Nigeria, who truly own your state? Do you believe that it is APC that own your state? Is it Labour Party that own your state? Is it PDP that own your state? Who truly own your state? Or maybe for you, is it your leader who is currently leading the state that own your state? So that's a question that we are trying to put into this very particular conversation. Is the fact that also, was the king before 1884 owns Nigeria? Because you and I know too well that before Nigeria becomes Nigeria, there were people living. Before the Berlin Conference that happens in 1884, where Africa was disintegrated, broken into pieces, currently now sitting at 54, these were the West who were sitting in the comfort of their home, deciding about the continent of Africa, breaking a people that literally have a culture, have a lifestyle, have a mindset. They literally have a religion. Chances are that they were practicing at that very particular moment. They sit there in Berlin, decide to carry a continent known as Africa, and they literally divided us into 54. In that division of 54, you and I know too well that we also have what is called the Royal Nigerian Company that traded our land and make Nigeria literally look as if it's a merchandise. The Royal Nigeria literally came into Nigeria. You and I know too well how they disintegrate. Before we know what is going on, Nigeria was literally a stock market in the UN and in the US Stock Exchange. The whole country was literally a stock market. The question again I'm asking you, I'm painting all of these for you to understand history. That was a nation, I don't want to use the word Nigeria, but there was a nation which was known as whatever it was then at that time. 1884, it was disintegrated into 54 country, down to the royal guys who came in after 1884, decided to name it by Lord Lugard and his girlfriend, known as Nigeria. Before we know what is going on, we see the British crown, which is the colonial rule, entered into Nigeria, and as if that was not enough, before we know what's going on, independence was given to Nigeria in 1960, and as if that was also not enough, we see that the soldiers literally who took power in 1966, and before we know what was going on, when that part was over, was it the oil company after the Biafra war that owns Nigeria? Or is it the political elite currently now that is sitting that still owns Nigeria? Or does Nigeria truly belongs to Nigerians themselves? These are conversations that I want us to be able to talk tonight and for us to be able to educate ourselves on this very particular show, which is known as The Voice of a New Tribe. This is the first Wednesday of the month of March. We're going to be talking about all things Nigeria tonight, and at the same time also seeing a way of how to begin to put serious solution to this country called Nigeria and how we can then be able to make something out of it. 08127793453. 08127793453. Or you can give us a call on 08037441154. 08037441154. Who truly owns Nigeria? Just understand this. We are not here to throw blame. We are here to educate one another. Good evening and welcome to Voice of a New Tribe.
Good evening, Lord.
Hey, Emoji. Good evening. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you for being my favorite most caller. You can shoot this moment.
Thank you. I begin.
Yes, sir.
The scramble for the partition of Africa is no excuse for our current state.
Okay.
They did it to the rest of the world. They did it to the Middle East.
Okay.
They did it to Israel. Even the current stateless Palestine, read its history. Why they did it to Palestine, and their efforts are trying to negotiate according to what's the English word now? Trying to negotiate according to their power.
Okay.
That's what
Okay.
they made them a stateless region.
Okay.
So Nigeria being where it is no excuse that we're alienated and not by foreign powers. No excuse. From 1960 or through the days of Awu and Zeke, right up to Gowon's regime, Nigeria was in our innocent years.
Okay.
When Obasanjo came into power in 1976, after the death of Monchala,
Okay.
the Lankan mafia it had the grip of Nigeria in its palm. Now, what is my name now?
Which one? From which
No,
state?
from Taraba State, the chief of army staff.
Okay.
How can I forget this man's name?
Don't worry.
From Taraba State. Now, now, the chief of army staff was from Plateau State, was from, actually, it was from Taraba, but the Lankan, and it was a part of the Lankan mafia. It was domiciled in Jos.
Okay.
So, I don't know why this man's name is eluding me. So, he now chose Yaradua being an Omokanu
Okay.
to be the chief of general staff. But Yaradua took it upon himself to lord it over him as chief of army staff. Because he was, and he now
the man we're talking about, is it not what's it called, General Theophilus Danjuma?
Danjuma.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Danjuma.
Okay.
So he was the powerful. Lanka Mafia owned this country. So he now gave out of he just gave concession to Kano. Kano is the military people. Okay, let the Omokano be in charge of the
Okay.
Yaradua just took it upon himself and looked down upon you and carried heirs upon himself. That was where Nigeria went astray.
So it went astray from 1975.
No, don't from 5, so 6 years. Mojalama was killed February 13, 1976.
Okay.
Then that government came after the failed coup of Dimka. That government came to power.
Okay.
Now, what's the other thing just called again?
Yeah,
Yaradua was bemused, but he did not challenge up front Yaradua.
Okay.
He didn't challenge. So that was where there was now a struggle. The Lankan started to lose their glamour, their hold on Nigeria. Because the Kanu axis started to gain strong footing as the citadel of the north. Now, Danjuma now remained in the background. He didn't want to create any clash.
Okay.
But Yaradua, after that regime, Yaradua set up a mafia that owns this country. That's when mafia started in Nigeria.
So Yaradua was the founder of mafia.
Crude oil deal you brought into Nigeria, Yaradua was passed through Yaradua's desk. Out of government now running the mafia, they will give you 17 cents for every barrel of that deal you bring, and they take over the deal. Hello?
I'm hearing you.
So that was where Nigeria lost it, just went astray. So right from then, right up to the reign after Babangida, Babangida was the quiet president until the reign of Abacha. Abacha now saw that there is no future if Yaradua is not dealt with the president taken from the roots. He arrested Yaradua and put in prison. Okay? Although he also arrested Obasanjo, said Obasanjo got it in let's not go into that one.
Yeah.
Yaradua, he had a personal graph against Yaradua, and then the fact that this country can go forward with this Yaradua mafia. So Yaradua died in prison. So apparently the high-headed monster we saw for Abacha, in truth, it was actually solving the problem of the country. That was where Mafia was supposed to have ended. That was the secret why Obasanjo had such a wonderful reign. There was no Mafia under Obasanjo. There was no Mafia. So all he had to do was make this country go forward, and he started it. And when he saw what was ahead of him, he decided that, if I wish I could do much more. But
it's too late at that time.
Our paper constitution said you can only say 2 tenors. So Obasanjo now left. Obasanjo didn't set up any mafia. Are you with me?
I get you.
The country was still clean. Then Yaradua brought the mafia now, the residue of the mafia now put Yarada's brother, who was the former lecturer, the president. This man said this election that brought me to power was rigged. He said it was rigged. Then it was known that he was going to die shortly, and everything was arranged. This Biafra man, Goodluck that came to power. Goodluck didn't have the technological know-how to set up a mafia, but he came with his Biafra boys, and his boys were all over new sounds in town, all over the place, capturing money around. Now, after Goodluck lost his beef to Buhari now came, and for everybody and for nobody, Buhari did set up a mafia. But Buhari's wife had a caucus that formed a cabal, a group of 3. that formed the Kaaba. They were running this country as Yar'Adua was going to Saudi Arabia looking for one hospital or the other. They were running this country. Using his secret as a point, a vantage point. Till finally, Yar'Adua now give up the post, and then they were kicked out of office. So since then, we have not really had any mafia like what Yar'Adua set up from 1976. But small caucuses that they can't tie the bells around the waist. Have been vying for energy, vying for power. So the wheels this side, the wheels this side. So the boat has just been rolling from side to side. No balance. But
okay, I think
tried to maintain a no consent. He was just looking ahead. He doesn't know what he's signing. He doesn't know what he's doing. I will not implicate him in anything, but there are people working in the background making their money, but they didn't wield power from a mafia. So it's just small corporations.
I think the reason why I'm quiet, I'm listening to you, is because I wanted to be able to just get your full spectrum as to the topic we're discussing tonight.
The mafia days was really Yar'Adua days. Till Yar'Adua died, the mafia died.
So,
but
now we still see, with all the mess that is going on in Nigeria now, my question there is, who are the people that are playing it? Because sometimes you want to ask yourself a question with the current government, that is here, who is literally playing? Who is the puppet? Who is the master?
What name of this man whose election was verified and he died?
MK Abiola, yes.
Abiola election was nullified. Babangida told us that it was not of his consent that decision was made. There was a cabal, there was mafia then.
Okay.
Who felt he's a rich man, he would do his own way, and he would sell college his friends and all. They just felt they couldn't trust him because they couldn't influence him. He had his wealth. You know. So that was when they decided to use the word, under IB, decided to use the word stakeholders. And since the IBB days, till present day as we speak, that word stakeholders is still in use.
Now the question there is, who are these stakeholders that literally owns Nigeria?
That's a good question to ask.
That's where my question is asked. Who truly owns Nigeria? Who are these stakeholders that literally own Nigeria, where we have a government that literally is not in touch with the reality of its people? Which means we must be able to get to the point to understand that clearly somebody is literally the stakeholder who is not in touch, that is using the puppet that we're all seeing and shouting, clamoring and insulting and doing all of this. Somebody is playing the game behind this thing. Who is that?
The face is in the mirror that you see. The government is just the outward show. In the background, the stakeholders are performing. Now, this is it. The stakeholders are power brokers, money bankers, who have the stakes in the country's outcome or the country's direction or whatever. Whether it goes forward or goes backward, where they make more money, that's where the country goes.
Okay.
Now, the greatest dilemma the country has ever had is under Tinubu. Because now, under Tinubu, the old money makers who made their money, those who didn't go down, and they invested it, and they are controlling the power, because they is not their own, because to convert that money into power. Now, money power. The new money under Tinubu is fighting the old money. There is a battle between real money and old money. So when two elephants fight, is the grass that suffers. That's where.
So which means there is a new money and an old money battle between the Tinubu's administration currently.
Part of the new money, and is the head of it. And the new money is so like Dangote was like an eye to the old money, and so Dangote's ideas are frowned on by Tinubu because he is the head of the new money, just like Nebuchadnezzar.
I hear you.
They don't want to see the interest. The old money, they invested in Nigeria, so they had some interest. Under the military, one thing I can give to IBB and Abacha, they had the welfare of the soldiers, Abacha had the welfare of the soldiers, IBB had the welfare of the citizens. They wanted the country to go forward because unlike there's a disease I call blackboard in Nigeria. Blackboard disease.
Yeah.
Blackboard just eats up the cocoa tree and it smells, it runs and smells. The policy is when that pond runs and smells, Google leprosy, the virus has to die because the fruit has died. There's nothing more to be. So the military means that this country has to go forward for them to make their money. So they're interested in Nigeria's progress. But the present current leaders we have, call them leaders or whatever, they are not interested in anything going forward in the country. They want to make their money.
So Nigeria now literally is from what you're saying, Nigeria is just an investment ground where you come invest and take your money and get out.
Company, that's what I'm saying. No, the difference between the old and the new is that this new one has no interest in the
old company.
They just want to make their money and to maximize it. What they are trying to see is that if this tree dies, their investment dies. They're so blinded, they're so nonsensical. They can't see that your corporate, rather what they're doing is they're looking out into other fields, how to progress their investment into other fields. You want technology, anything that they see, they want to make money using their money base. They think that they make Nigeria to a drive, now go left. So they are looking for new investment areas. They are not thinking of progress, not future. They don't understand if this country sinks, they sink with it. They are rocking it, thinking it. That's the difference between the new money and old money. They are so reckless.
All right. I think we would pause you here so that we can give others a time for them to also call in on the station. But I appreciate your contribution on the show. Really appreciate you. The concept of the new money and the old money right here on the Armed Forces Radio 107.7 with your host, the Afropolitan Apostle. Number again for you to call us is 08037441154. 08037441154, or you can call us on 08127793453. We're talking about the whole concept of the Nigeria. Who truly owns Nigeria? Is Nigeria really owned by Nigerians themselves, or is Nigeria owned? Is the kings who owned Nigeria before 1884, or is the Europe in Berlin? You and I know what happened in Berlin. Good evening and welcome to Voice of a New Tribe. Good evening, sir. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I'm Marco Nicholas Gafford, calling from Kurudu, Abuja.
From Kurudu, Abuja. Thank you so much, sir, for calling. You can shoot, sir.
All right. Yeah. The topic is interesting.
Thank you.
I think who owns Nigeria? Nigeria is being owned by the people, by the money bags.
Nigeria is owned by the money bags, okay?
Yes. Why am I saying this? Now, whoever comes to power, before they come, they promise heaven and earth. See what they want to do. They will do this for all. They will do this for the Talakawas. They will do this for the Talakawas. But the moment they just got to the position, they will forget about everything. What they do now is to compensate those who sponsored them, those who contributed money for them to come to the power, and forget about the Talakawas. Now, take for instance,
okay.
When Jonathan was there, I remember vividly, I was listening watching this Eli Mohammed.
Okay.
He was going up and down, telling Nigeria that PDP has killed Nigeria, that they want to have a change.
Yeah.
Yes, I personally voted for Buhari because I knew Buhari was a disciplined man.
Yeah.
When he was in Nigeria, I was in junior secondary school in Washington, in secondary school then. So I don't know much about him, but I know he was a disciplined man. Because then I was living at Kaduna to Jos in my school.
Yeah.
I was paying 200 naira for bus and 300 naira for taxi. Things were better. When he came to power, he made sure that things were in order.
Okay.
He brought the of things down. So that made me, I attended a campaign for him. People now, they call me Buhari. They call me those who don't know me around because I was campaigning for Buhari. I never have any contact with him. Because I thought he was going to savage Nigeria. But to my disappointment, when he came, he turned against the Talakawa.
The promise was fulfilled. The change that we needed, he gave us the change, but he didn't tell us what kind of change.
He changed for better, but when Nigeria was better, the condition of Nigeria was going to be better. But to my disappointment, when he came, all he was doing was to compensate those who are close to him. You can imagine he was not in power. Another person was controlling the government. Even who was not even a point appointment in the government was not controlling the government. What happened to Talakawas? We were forgotten. Now, that's one. Secondly, the Nigerian law is not followed.
Okay.
We have a law, but we don't follow the laws at all. The law made one person to be so powerful that whatever the person wishes, he does it. He didn't give regard to the law. The man can get up at night, as far as the head, you can make an appointment and nobody queries it. As far as he is trying, benefiting, those who are close to him are benefiting, nobody corrects it. So how can a president who make appointment one-sided, the reason other region are forgotten? If you complain, they suppress you with power. Because they have the power, executive power.
So which means Nigerian power and its strength is not in its democracy and its constitution, it belongs to individual.
Yes, that's what's happening in Nigeria here. The moment you get the power, everything in your hand. The economy is in your hand, the government is in your hand, the people are in your hand, whatever you wish you do, and nobody queries it. This is a problem. Imagine, those who wanted the Jonathan to go, they said they want a Muslim head of state. What has happened to do with us? What is a Christian and Muslim? What happened to do with us? We forget to look at our own welfare. If we are there, as far as we are there, and they are my brother, they are from my tribe, no problem. Even if others are dying, even your families are dying, you don't care. As far as your own brother. But you know what happened to you? I know suffering, I know dying. Some of you want people who are killing us and say, because of religion, because of my tribe. Nobody is killing us.
I hear you.
This is happening now. This is happening.
Yeah.
Look at all the appointments. All from Yoruba or Yoruba. You cannot Yoruba, you're nowhere. There's no way you can go in this country. North, south, northeast, southeast, southwest. You can get qualified people that can manage in position. But this man now, all the positions have to go to Yoruba. They have to qualified person in this country. Why must it be so?
I think also on the previous administration also, and I don't know why this is happening. Where you will find
what this man is doing now. What the president is doing. What Buhari did.
Yeah.
Buhari made all appointments. He's all cabinet all his types.
So is there a constitution that would forbid that, for example, in Nigerian politics? Because come 2027, I think I was told that January is going to be our presidential elections. Now, so which means we need to have this conversation. This is March already, so 2 months down to this thing. Is there a constitution that literally bars or probably hold the leaders accountable that when you get to power, it's not based on tribe? Because this is 36 different provinces, almost more than 400 different tribes and languages and stuff. So you can't only have one tribe literally ruling the country. It's not possible. How then do we begin?
That is bad.
So is there a constitution that can bring the Pepsi or probably bring the leaders to account to make them understand that this is Nigeria, not your local state or your local provinces where you now put your own tribe of people there because it's Igbo or it's Yoruba, but this is Nigeria. More than 400 language. You cannot only be able to put only Yoruba sitting there.
The Nigerian law, we have to have all this in there. But what happens is that nobody checkmates the president. He is so powerful that those who are supposed to check him are being bribed. Money back, settle everything.
When you said it, that money bags control Nigeria, yeah.
Yeah, to control Nigeria. That is so-called Senate president. Whatever you say today, I thought you go to the chamber there, they will suppress you. They will monitor in the night and on. They are talking about election to be committed live. But this man came up and telling us that you think we are fools. He went to school, also went to school. We know what's happening, but the power that overnight.
Yeah.
That's why they vote that party.
Sometimes I choose to believe that our leaders that are currently ruling this country, especially this administration, they are not in touch with the people's reality. I choose to believe that they are living in Pluto. They are not on Earth, number one. Not even talk of living in Nigeria. They are literally not on Earth. But nonetheless, thank you so much for your contribution. I really appreciate you, sir.
All right. I'm not voting. I'm not voting again. I'll not do that again.
I'm not voting again.
I know the result already. Look at what happened the last election.
Yeah.
People slept outside. Because it's not going to be a change. What happens?
But even if you look at even the Abuja, the election they did last week, I was told that the outcome was very poor. And I was like, can you imagine? And yet, under this administration.
That is the reason why. I've always been voting, but this time around, I made up my mind. because your vote does not count as far as Nigeria is concerned.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate you for the call. Right here on the Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM. The question for tonight is, who truly owns Nigeria? The number for you to call us is 081-277-93453. 081-277-93453. Who truly owns Nigeria? Was Nigeria owned by the king before 1884? Or was Nigeria owned by the Europeans in Berlin? Was Nigeria owned by the Royal Niger Company that traded the land like merchandise? Or was Nigeria owned by the British Crown Queen then? Was Nigeria owned by the leader who took powers in 1966? Or was Nigeria owned by the companies after the Biafra War? Or is Nigeria owned by the financial institutions and, like my current caller says, the money bag guys? Or is Nigeria owned by the politicians of today? Do you still believe that Nigeria is owned by Nigerians and its people? Because ownership is not just about the flag and item. Ownership is literally about controls. Ownership is about who benefits, and ownership is about who decide the future. Good evening and welcome to Voice of a New Tribe. Good evening, sir. Please, can you speak up a bit? You're a bit low.
Okay.
All right, that's better now. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from. Mr. Victor from Kurudu. You can shoot, sir.
Yeah. What I have to say is that Nigeria is owned by Britain and her allies.
So Nigeria is still owned by Britain and her allies?
Yeah.
Why do you say so?
Because whatever is happening to Nigeria now, as you can see, Britain will always pretend they don't know what's happening. They will pretend they don't care. And they don't really care because as far as the investments they have done over the years, like you said, with the Royal Crown,
Royal Niger Company.
That company is still in existence under Unilever. So they still own it, they still control the strings, they still pull the strings, and whether elections count, whether lives are lost, whether voters don't count, whether the life and the health of the people does not matter, does not improve or do well. As long as the investment is bringing them the returns they have done over the years, as far as that is on, they don't care what's happening in the country.
Does that mean that if you say the British own Nigeria, is that the reason why we see that every slight mistake and every cough and sneeze that the Nigerian leaders have, they all run to Britain?
Of course. By the time before the election will happen now, maybe this time around it will not happen, maybe it will happen. They'll go to Chatham House. What is Chatham House? Is there any British government, is there any European company or European country rather that have done any election and they come to Africa to tell Africans how they want to run their country? So why do Nigerian politicians go to Chatham House to tell Britain how they want to run Nigeria?
I think they are going to give reports now, like you said.
Exactly. So it shows that the bigger interest of ownership lies in Britain and our allies.
I hear you.
If it was not so, they will not be telling us, we won't be going to tell them what we want to do. So it belongs to them. So our leaders will keep pretending that it belongs to us. They will keep pretending that they own it. That is why the constitution is not working for us. And Britain doesn't care.
As long as it still favors them.
They don't want to see a better Nigeria. What they want to see is a Nigeria that keeps supplying them the resources they want. At the background, they own the companies, they own the oil firms, they decide who owns it. Because, like you also mentioned about the Biafra War, who owns the Nigeria after the Biafra War?
Yeah.
It's the Britain. The people that sponsored the war on the Nigeria side owned the country. I used to tell people that the South-South, what you have today, you call it as South-South. There is no such place, there is no such geopolitical zone called South-South in any part of the world.
Okay.
Except in Nigeria. And when you have it in Nigeria, why do you have it in Nigeria? You have it because the people that feel they conquered the old Eastern Nigeria, they own the so-called South-South now. And what?
Hello, I think.
Land, that is where the resources of Nigeria is in bulk occupation. That is where the people know that is where the bulk resources of Nigeria comes from. And the people that control those resources and those regions are the owners of this country. If you want to take that region from their hand, this country will not survive. So
and I think one question One point that you brought on the table, which is it's something to look literally into, and I'm hoping that the current leaders who are sitting there, they don't repeat this, and that's why this show is literally for us to open the eye. Is why do Nigeria go to Chatham House all the time when there's elections? It literally says a lot. It says a lot.
It says a lot, of course.
It says a lot.
I
think for me that yeah.
They are loyal to the crown. They are loyal to the crown.
So now the question I want to ask you, is Nigeria truly independent or Nigeria is just franchised? I lost my caller. And I think, Mr. Victor, you can call back from Kurudu because this conversation is beginning to go to the place I like it. Because whether I like it or not, we must begin to have those uncomfortable conversations for us to be able to get the answer that we want. Good evening and welcome to the show. Okay. Please, can you reduce the volume of the radio set?
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Good evening.
I'm fine. I don't even want to disclose my name, but let's just continue from where the last
continue, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, because that was what I was trying to say before he beat me to it.
Okay.
Nigeria is ruled by our colonial. We're still slaves. That's just the truth.
We're still being played.
Yes, we're still slaves. Maybe slaves with ties and suits. Yes, slaves with ties and suits, because even the ones that travel to the British, whatever, UK, North and London, their allegiance is tied to the king, to the crown.
Yeah.
You walk. None of them are not even enjoying it, even as maybe you're looking for greener pastures, right? Because they carve the system where you can never prosper. You only have what you only have the little you can just sustain, because the moment you prosper, they won't be allegiance to the crown. Every time, if you notice, even Buhari did the same thing.
Yeah.
Every time he's always in UK for medical tourism, and he was the one that was like, he was supposed to eschew all evil and corruption and whatever, but he thrived in corruption.
And whether I like it or not, we are seeing that same signature also happening with the current president, whereby the next minute is going for the.
So when people are talking, they forget we should not just always tie it to the present government. No, do we erase you? Why do we go for? All the things you were saying ties to history, isn't it?
Yes. That's why I needed us to have the. Yeah, that's why I needed us to go back to history and literally find who truly owns Nigeria.
Because when people want to talk about it, in fact, we started getting, yes, it was messed up, fine. Buhari came and made a show of mess, as in something that was messed up became more messier. And now this current government is doing the same thing. They are the only ones, they are big boys, they are the ones playing whatever. Even him, he goes to London for his medical tourism and all that. Now, medical tourism is like a show of class. The show of class now, that if you are playing it with the big boys, you have to travel to UK for medical tourism. Like last year, I remember when they were launching a new school.
Yeah.
I was shocked to my marrow. I was shocked. That's why I said I don't want to disclose my name and everything. I was shocked to my marrow that one of these schools in the UK. They said they were going to launch it. Started in Abuja. It started in Abuja, in Lagos. And when we converted in the pounds to naira, that it was about close to 50 million.
Okay.
50 million. Which of Nigerian civil servants can afford that for a secondary school? I do not want to call the name of the school.
No, please don't. Yeah.
They are extracting. They are extracting. So I have to cut off the call because I'm already in the I just said, let me just talk.
No, thank you so much for contributing. I really appreciate you. Yeah, thank you. The question again still remains the same as this conversation continues to get very interesting, is who truly owns Nigeria? And from my previous caller and currently now my anonymous caller, the question that we need to ask ourselves, why do the presidents and the leaders of Nigeria literally go to Chatham House? Is it the fact that Nigeria literally is still being controlled by the Europeans, or we are just a franchise system thinking that we're in democracy? Good evening and welcome to Voice of a New Tribe.
My brother, good evening.
My brother, now you again. I don't remember your voice. How you do, sir?
My name is Tony. Yes, your brother, the name is
Thank you so much, sir.
You never get visa.
We never get leader at all.
Yes, let me say Nigeria no good.
Mm.
The people never rule this country. My brother, this country is doing so well. You know why I'm saying this? They are good into the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost store, they tell you about people. Nigeria needs enough people. Therefore, put dry land port for them. Kata people, Kane, Kaduna, you understand? You will see these guys. They say that side is the getting work. You will see everybody. They don't work. Because these people who are the same, it's not supposed to say that everybody will do government work.
Yeah.
He said, you will say things that will not come out. Promise. I will do this, brother. Oh, na lie. Nobody does it. Nothing when they do. If the election now, when they hear their talk, they step on the side way network, maybe. Say that they use the paper rights.
Paper rights.
Yeah, they do the best 24 hours. 24 hours and they listen to radio. People, when they don't talk, the election is no matter. I don't think they laugh. Okay, see, FCC council, you know, just some place. Boy, people don't come out to vote.
Of course, I see the vote. I see the number really low. Seriously, I wonder what will happen.
Now they say now, some places people don't come out. All these things we utilize, they are dribbling us like a gutter. We know that. You understand? All these they are planning to. We will never get this leader. If good leader rule this country, I am telling you the truth. Nigeria will have a 60. If people never enter that seat.
So you believe so if Igbo enter, Nigeria go better pass what day now?
I'm telling you the truth. If you know people enter, they don't believe in government money. They believe in hustling.
I hear you.
They will lose. They will go to the other side. My brother, the country is going nowhere. If people never enter that, I am telling you the truth.
But from everything you have currently said, now my question is, who do you think own Nigeria now?
So, my brother, you never know you talk.
But just talk your talk. Talk your talk now. Who do you say own Nigeria now?
I prefer people with you to come because that one have fear of God. People do have fear of God. When you hear another state, even if family don't be drive a government car, if you tell you say government car don't be you get am, don't be your papa, don't be your father get am, now it belongs to government.
I hear you.
All of them they hate to pass because if that man enter there, my brother, Nigeria will transform. When you give me work, to make sure say you go to that, if you don't do Baba, that man no go even come up for you give you. He must make sure say that work you will do it, and you will come and take. You understand?
I get you.
Bias is there. The Zoro is there. People, international airport, people for us. Some guys believe in hustle is for me. Like me now, I don't think I go to government work. Wow, the baby. But if you do my own side, I will hustle that side, get my own money.
I hear you.
Get my own way. Then the people who want to government work, you go and do. If you want to join uniform work, you go and join. That's how I work first, and then stay everywhere. But this time they go come. They will promise you the agenda. Now it's our president, chief. You know, what agenda the youth people. They go further, see, they cry, they don't want. My brother.
It is. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for calling. The question remains the same on tonight's show as to who truly owned Nigeria. Is Nigeria owned by the king before 1884? Is Nigeria owned by the Europeans in Berlin who literally came up with these very particular issues of divide and conquer? Is Nigeria owned by the royal companies? And from what I've gathered now, it has now morphed from the royal company to literally Unilever Nigerian PLC. Is Nigeria owned by the British Crown? Or is Nigeria owned by the soldiers who took power in 1966, yes, that's the number I'm looking for. Or is Nigeria owned by the oil company after Biafra? And some of you literally say Nigeria is owned by the money bags, which is the banking institutions. And for some of you say Nigeria is literally owned by stakeholders. I think if I use that very particular statement, So the question really for tonight is, who truly owns Nigeria? It's a conversation that I need you all to join us tonight on 081277 93453, 081277 93453, or you can call us on 0803744 1154, 0803744 At the time now is literally less than 4 minutes to 8 o'clock. We'll be coming back after this very particular short break. Don't go anywhere. Remember that this very particular show is proudly sponsored by Charlotte Prime Homes. I'll see you on the flip hour. Still here live on the Armed Forces Radio with your host, the Afropolitan Apostle Darlington Steve, talking about the whole concept of who truly owns Nigeria. 081277 081277 Because when we talk about the whole concept of ownership here, for me, ownership is not just about flag and item. I mean, what's called anthem. You and I know too well that this current administration came into the power and they decided to change the Nigerian anthem. I think I remember when I came into the country, and for strangers, I don't know why my friend decided to play that, what you call, prank on me. It was like, do you remember the Nigerian national anthem? And I was proud to say, "Arise, will come." The guy just looked at me. He was laughing. So my national anthem don't change. So immediately I quickly went to check, is the flag of Nigeria still the same? Because the question there is the fact that who really truly owns Nigeria. Ownership is about control. Ownership is about who benefits. Ownership is about who decides the future. You and I know too well that from the Berlin Conference in 1884, when Africa was positioned without Africans, because that meeting happened, Africans were not there. So in 1914, amalgamation that merged over 250 ethnic groups in one political experience. And also to the Civil War, where controls of the oil shaped destiny, to military regime where centralized power was activated, to democracy where people circulate within elite network. The question remains, are we sovereign or just administratively independent? And like the question I was asking, is really Nigeria truly free or Nigeria is just franchised? It's a question because like the previous caller who just called in, the lady voice, where she says that one of the things that we need to really ask ourselves here is the fact that when we look at all of these very particular businesses and stuff, the Chatham Meeting House that is going on, who is benefiting from this? Who is really benefiting from this? And there's a thing for us whereby I don't just want us to talk about the current government. We need to look at it from the past to open our mind to really ask the question. And for those of you literally who are listening to us currently and you are not able to call, please, I want you to take these conversations to your office and literally ask your fellow friends and ask your colleagues as to who truly owns Nigeria. Because if you understand who owns Nigeria, I think 2027 election will be better. And hear me, I'm not saying don't vote for the current party. I'm not here pushing for a particular party to be put in power and all of those things. I'm here for us to literally have what we call the mind shift thinking. We must be able to think mind shift. We must be able to think tomorrow. If you go on social media, you are seeing a lot of, for lack of a better word, events that is happening around who is sponsoring who is not sponsoring who, and all of that very particular thing, whether it is true, false or not. The question there is, all of the effect that is happening from the Aso Rock, how is it affecting your pocket? There are some of you listening to me literally currently now. You are literally trying to even find kuli to put in the gari for you to drink tonight to go and sleep. And yet you literally left the home by 5 a.m. to come back by this time, and you are still thinking, what am I going to eat? It's a conversation that I really need for us to be able to think tonight. We are not here to shout. We are not here to promote any political party or whatever, or a particular tribe. Whether it is Igbo that is ruling, if we don't understand who truly owns Nigeria, chances are the pattern will repeat itself again. Currently now it's Yoruba that is ruling. We are seeing how the whole thing is now becoming Yoruba fraternity. Before the previous government, it was Hausa that was there. We are seeing all the Hausa's fraternity. And now the question there is the fact that the next person that is going to come, is it still going to be a Nigeria that is inclusive or a Nigeria that is still divided? In Nigeria that is still being sponsored by regional divide, tribal divide, even religion divide is literally dividing us as Nigeria. And so the question for tonight is, was Nigeria formed for development or for extraction? Do you think that Nigeria was formed for development? Like my previous caller says, a lot of things is taken out of this very particular country, and yet nobody is talking. Let's look at the resources in the northern part of Nigeria, from the gold and everything that you know. The question I ask myself most times when I think of this, the resources in the north, is this still calculated into the Nigerian economy of things, or it is just the resources that they get outside of the north that is being looked into? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. That's the conversation, because except you tell me that the northern Nigerians are not Nigerians, then it's a different ballgame entirely. But if they are also part of Nigeria, if they are still holding a Nigerian passport, then clearly we need to also be able to have what we call economic inclusivity, where literally we're not going to see, let's call a spade a spade. You and I know too well that the guys who are extracting our gold, literally, they are not extracting it for the benefit of Nigeria, they're extracting it for their own personal interest. Question again, who truly owns Nigeria? Was Nigeria formed for development or for extraction? The amalgamation that happened in 1914, was it to unify us or simply administrative for colonial interest? Was it to unify, or they just do that for colonial interest so that the power can be central? Another question also you need to ask yourself or answer tonight is, why were borders drawn without regard for ethnic and cultural realities? The Yorubas are there, the Igbos are there, the Hausas are there. Currently now, I think that the funny enough, family, pardon me, I'm going to say this very particular because I'm beginning to see a particular trend that is currently happening in Abuja. Remember that I'm still new, so you pardon me, I'm like a mirror. I see things, I talk. Maybe the country I come from is because we are licensed to free and fair election one. We're licensed to say our truths. We can protest without us being poured tear gas. We can hold the government accountable. Let me even say some few things about my country. We can hold the government accountable, and the political party will recall the president and bring somebody in. If you think I'm laughing or I'm joking, go and ask the ANC government in South Africa how they literally recalled the sitting president there, who happens to be President Jacob Zuma, and literally replaced him with President Cyril Ramaphosa. So which means the constitutions and the country where I come from, the party is bigger than the politician, and not the politician bigger than the party. Now, with the whole construct of Nigeria, you cannot even protest without you hoping that they are even going to throw tear gas and not real bullets. Let's call a spade a spade. I know I'm on Armed Forces Radio. Like I said, this conversation has nothing to do with the radio and the stakeholders. It's just for us to be able to say conversations that are really, really truthful, so that you can know the integrity of this very particular radio station, that it is fearless. We're just here for us to inform you and for us to be able to give you conversation that can change your mindset. And did the independence in 1960, did it transfer power or just a management change? That's a question that I want us to be able to answer tonight on 081-277-93453, 081-277-93453, or you can call us on 080-3744-1154, 080-3744-1154. You can also SMS us, or you probably email us. SMS or WhatsApp is not email. You can SMS or WhatsApp us on any of the numbers that you currently have on your hand. Emoji, good evening, sir. Hello, sir. Hello. I cannot hear you. Your line is really, really bad. I think maybe you have to retry again and call back so that it's going to be quite easier, because I'm struggling to hear you, sir, and I don't want us to burn airtime. You are my self-imposed co-host. So you can call back 081-277-93453 or 080-3744-1154. Who truly owns Nigeria? Did the independence in 1960 transfer power, or is just a change management system that happens in Nigeria? Emoji, talk to me, sir.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. It's better.
Before we delve into the matter of whole, let's start with the question of purpose.
Okay. Okay, now your line went off. Now I don't know what is going on that very particular place. Please, network service provider, don't sabotage me tonight. Good evening and welcome to Voice of a New Tribe.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Well done.
Thank you so much. Please, can you help us reduce the volume of a radio set?
Okay, yes, I've reduced it.
Thank you so much.
My name is Prince Prosper Akeni.
Prince Prosper, from where?
Akeni. I'm from Delta State.
Delta State.
I'm from an oil producing community.
So you are the guys that the ones that is controlling the country currently.
We are the ones feeding everybody fast to the extent that they are not using their brains anymore.
All right, talk to us on the show tonight.
Okay, first and foremost, let me thank you for your boldness.
Thank you so
Let me
much.
thank you for your speaking the truth.
Thank you.
And also let me thank you for bearing the mark of redemption.
Thank you.
Anybody who says the truth is bearing the marks of redemption.
I hear you, sir.
And if only you could be listened to, I believe this kind of narrative can change a lot of things.
True, sir.
And we can't stop talking. We will continue to talk until the change will come.
True.
As a matter of fact, you can imagine what it means to be the Nigerian peace idol. Meaning that there was a time that there was the need to fill a vacuum.
Okay.
Where there was so much of militancy, so much of war, so much of trouble here and there. The waters were virtually, filled with the blood of the innocent Niger Deltas.
Okay.
And in the course of our fighting and all that, it happens that Yaradua gave us a learning year.
Okay.
And he created the amnesty.
Mm.
And also, they looked into 13% derivation.
Okay.
That was true of Obasanjo.
Mm.
Now, after all these things have happened, Nigeria still ran the way it used to be run before.
Okay.
We still use our oil to feed the whole country. And nobody is saying, okay, fine. We are not operating actually a true federalism.
True.
But
True.
why is it that the federal government of today is not even interested in harnessing other
forms of resources in the country
that are important so that the country can actually be the rich country that God wants to be?
Mm.
Everybody is paying attention to oil. We say somebody is a solid mineral minister. There is nothing he's doing to say, okay, let's talk. There's supposed to be a state of emergency in the whole of the north, where you have cold and all those
things. Yeah, serious state of emergency.
Harnessed by federal government directly. Not allowing some individuals who call themselves general. That's why you see the breeding of bandits all over the whole of that place. Because it's the code that they are fighting for. Nothing more than that. You understand? So until the government decides to sit down and look into the natural resources we have in this country, there are some areas in the west where you also have gold. There are Nasarawa that you have uranium. It's not because of uranium that Trump is going to finish Iran. So that means Iran.
Hopefully, when Trump finishes Iran, it doesn't come to Nigeria.
Yeah, sorry, please. Let me not waste all your time, please. Let federal government begin to look into other areas and see how we can harness other natural resources to support the oil that we have.
I hear you. Thank you so much for your call. I really appreciate you for your call tonight. And that is coming from Prince Prosper. And thank you very much for, I think you said from Delta State. So we're grateful on that very particular conversations there. And I think the thing there also is the fact that we must just be able to fight for an inclusive Nigeria. And like you rightly say, we must keep talking about all of this very particular thing. Otherwise, we would literally wake up to a country where nobody would want to literally be part of it. And if, as a matter of fact, now, if you ask an average Nigerian to say, okay, fine, this is $10 million and this is Nigeria, choose one. As I'm saying that, you know what you are going to choose. If $10 million is even too high, let's just even bring it to 5 million naira. They say 5 million naira, Jackpa, and this is Nigeria, stay and develop the country. Which one will you do? So those are the things there where you and I know to. And like I said to somebody the other day, I said, say, I'm the president of Jackpa at the moment because I've Jackpa that I'm in and out and all of those very particular things. But at the end of the day, we need to really ask ourselves the question as to who truly owns Nigeria. Really ask ourselves. And this is me. I'm hoping that all the political elites currently now that are listening to this very particular show, you guys also should be able to have your own private Senate conversations to make you understand that the people are literally thinking. And that this is the thing I say about my Nigerians. Nigerians are smart people. We might be quiet because of the challenge and because we know that we have, for lack of a better word, lawless society where anything, as long as you have the money in your pocket, you can do and undo. As long as you feel that, yes, you're untouchable, then you can do and undo. If the political guys understand that their party is bigger than them, I bet you all this defection that is happening literally will not be happening because they know that if you defect, it is the party that puts you there and not you who stays there. And that is one thing that I'm hoping that with this electoral reform that people are shouting, come next government, hopefully, that they are going to sit down. I don't know if they are going to do that, but let me just say it because it's benefiting some certain people. I'm hoping that come next government is the fact that, next administration, we're going to sit and make sure that the powers of the party belongs to the party and not the individual. Because for as long as the powers of the party is in the hand of the individual and not the party itself, then literally we will still keep on constituting a bunch of nuisance outside where people will be looking at us as Nigeria as literally a toothless bulldog. Currently now, a lot of people believe that Nigeria is just the giant snail of Africa and literally not the giant of Africa. Because why? Let's be honest. What are the things that we pioneering as Nigeria? What are the shifts are we making? The other day I was saying to somebody, I'm going to say this uncensored. I said, please, can the president not please send an apology letter to Iran and all of these guys? We don't want. Before now, we send apology letter and these guys now remember that there is a country called Nigeria and they want to now retaliate with bomb. We are still trying to recover from what is. Let the president just stay your day. Let all these guys, the Middle East, let them do their fight. We have our own fight. Because currently our fight is electoral reforms. Our fight is people want to be able to go back home after working for more than 8 hours and still have food to eat on their table. Our fight is the fact that we need to be able to find a way of how to literally be able to have affordable houses. Currently now, I think because I operate in the property space of things now, and I see some certain houses that people are building. And I'm saying, I'm sorry. Like, you're not building for Nigeria, you are building for diaspora. Let's be honest. You're not building for Nigeria. You're not. You will see a house of 250 million, 200 and 300. Somebody was telling me, I think somebody sent me a particular property somewhere, and I look at the price, it said 3.2 billion naira. I say, like in this Nigerian economy, it says 3.2 billion. Who wants to buy that very particular house? And guess what? It was just a 4-bedroom for 3.2 billion naira. I say, hey? Now, as a businessman, obviously, I'm going to sell that very particular property. But my question there is this. How many percent of people in Nigeria can buy a 3.2 billion naira house in this current Nigeria? Chances are, if we look at it, maybe they are just the top 20% or the 1% of the 1%. Because we need to also put the cadres to this. And also, I was saying to somebody earlier, I said, see, Nigeria currently now, we don't have the middle class. It's either you are rich or you are poor. That's Nigeria. Either you are rich or you are poor. I think I had a guest on my show on the AfriOne show, which is currently on YouTube. I want to encourage you, please, if you are listening to me, I want you to visit our YouTube channel, which is known as the AfriOne show, for you to go see this. I think the title of that very particular program, the particular show is Understanding Land and Stuff. The land in Abuja. And one of the things in that conversation that we literally had, and there's a lot of things we talked about, was the fact that this man was saying that the average Nigerian, literally, if you want to say you are comfortable. And when the guy was saying that, literally, I actually sat down, I look at even myself and my staff and go, and like, you need to do better, like, calm down. He said this, what was his statement? That the average Nigerian, for them to be able to survive, is the fact that 100,000 naira or 200,000 naira chances I cannot save. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he says from 300 or 400,000 naira. That is where you can literally begin to even have. But let's be honest, how many startups now, right now, can pay their staff 400,000 successfully? 400, and we're talking about some 400,000 as a receptionist, not 400,000 as your director or executive or whatever. 400,000 as your ground floor people, the frontline person you see when you come into the office. I will not lie you. The moment, I think even this morning, I was even watching the show again still. That part stuck in my brain. And one of the things I was saying to myself, I started making calls to some of my stakeholders outside of the country to say, see, guys, I just got to beg you guys. If you don't want to come to Nigeria, sponsor me. We have a lot to do as far as Nigeria is concerned. We have a lot to do. Talking about sponsorship, for those of you who are interested in sponsoring the AfriOne show currently that is on air, please, we want to encourage you. We are seeking for your sponsors. We have a lot to do. We have a lot of help we want to render. Businesses are currently coming on our table. People are literally knocking on AfriOne Invest for us to be able to support them. But the truth of it is the fact that I cannot do all. That it's there on my table. I was saying to somebody the other day, I say, I'm not VDM that has 300 million sitting in his foundation account. I don't have 300 million sitting in my foundation account. If you put it tomorrow, I swear I'll do something with it. But as for now, the time now is 19 minutes past 8. I don't have 300 million sitting in my account, in any of my account. You people know how to search, you can search it. It's fine. I don't have any. But with that being said, I'm saying all of this because literally, I'm for Nigerians, I'm for Africa. That's why my name is called the Afropolitan. Afropolitan in the sense that Africa is literally my primary interest. And I'm literally looking forward for you all to come on the table for us to make Nigeria first great, whereby we can then be able to be proud and say, Nigeria is my country. I want to get to the point whereby by the time I'm bringing my Nigerian passport, I'm not afraid as to what are the people going to say. I know that, yes, you may be privileged for you not to even go to embassies to go drop your Nigerian passport, but some certain people also who goes to drop you can hear the conversations that they get. Sometimes when you even get to the other side of your journey and you bring your Nigerian passport, you know how they look at you. You know, because why? Our passport index has reduced tremendously. How many countries can literally allow Nigerians to come into their country without conditions? How many? And that's why the conversations for tonight is who truly owns Nigeria. Is Nigeria literally a stock market, or is just a change of administrations where it is still owned by whoever divided Africa at first? And so with that being said, if you want to sponsor our shows on the Armed Forces Radio, I want to encourage you to give us a call literally for sponsorship alone. You can send an SMS on that number and say, okay. And literally, if you send the number, I will call you personally. I will call you for us to discuss sponsorship. So the direct line for you to be able to call for sponsorship alone is 080-7246-3771. 080-7246-3771. Now, this number is down. If you call, me will pick the call. So that at least by default now you now know that. But hear me, don't come in to ask me things that are not. Call that number for sponsorship and product placements. If you want to sponsor the show, if you want to be able to help us with the AfriOne Foundation for us to be able to do bigger things that we're doing currently. This is the second half for us being on Armed Forces Radio. There's a lot of things we want to do. A lot. But your contribution and your sponsorship literally can help us be able to do more. So the number again one more time for you to call for sponsorship and product placements on this very particular show. Or maybe you want to adopt an entrepreneur, because there is an initiative currently now that we're running called Adopt an Entrepreneur. And do you know that to literally adopt an entrepreneur in Nigeria, from the research we've made, literally is less than 500,000 naira for you to adopt an entrepreneur. An average business in Nigeria is looking for 500,000 for them to literally just have a bit of balance. 500,000. And literally you have 500 million, 1 billion, and God has helped you. The 500,000 you can throw to say, okay, I'm supporting this very particular, whoever the entrepreneur is, 500,000, this is it. And we would make sure that we facilitate you meeting that entrepreneur. And hear me, it's not just going to be any entrepreneurs that we're going to pick, entrepreneurs that we understand that want to scale. They literally are passionate about what they are doing, and not just the fact that they're looking for money to japa. So it's not that we're going to give them the money and they go their way. No, we're also going to put metrics and system in place to make sure that these entrepreneurs that you are sponsoring or you are supporting or you are mentoring, the money that you are given is literally doing what it says it needs to do. The number again one more time for sponsorship and product placement, you can give us a call on 080-7246-3771. I repeat, 080-7246-3771. One more time for sponsorship and product placement on the AfriOne show, either on our Facebook, YouTube, or probably on the Armed Forces Radio, is 080-7246-3771. We'll be right back just now as we go on another break again, as we prepare for ourselves for the last half of this very particular show, right here on the Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM with your host, the Afropolitan Apostle. This very particular show is proudly sponsored by Charlotte Prime Homes. For those of you who are interested in literally getting your landed property of 500 square meter currently in Karishi, Abuja, which is going for 1.2 million naira outright payment, but at the same time you can also call them for instrumental payment package plan. They can be able to help you structure something that you can then be able to get. The current Nigeria, yes, we may not know who controls it, but at least you can control the land that you want to buy. Whether you like it or not, you still need a place. The house you are staying in, that land, if you are not the landlord, the house you are staying currently belongs to somebody. And so let's also try to thrive and push ourselves to get to the point where we also now begin to own our own land, own our own houses and stuff. So it's a future land banking that you can literally take an advantage of, and it is literally fast developing. Currently in Karishi, for 1.2 million, you can then be able to get yourself a 500 square meter of land in that area. The number for you to call Charlotte Prime Homes directly, and then you never can tell, you might score yourself a discount when you tell them that you were calling from the AfriOne show. You can call them on 070-733-16184. 070-733-16184. That's the number for you to be able to call Charlotte Prime Homes, who are the proud sponsor of the AfriOne show. And I want to encourage you, please keep calling them, do business with them. The more you do business with them, the more we stay online. So that's the thing then. But talking about the concept of tonight, which is a question around who literally owns Nigerian? Who owns Nigerian? Let's just do what I call a drive down. While you are busy thinking on how to be able to make your calls on 0812779343, that's the number for you to call the show, 0812779343. I'm going to be giving just a bit of a breakdown as to how the Nigeria of things come into power, and so that we can then be able to take it up. Let me pick this one quickly before I do, because I wanted to talk about the Berlin Conference that happens in 1884 and 1885. I'll talk about that after this call tonight. Good evening and welcome, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. I missed your call the last time.
Okay. So can we begin from purpose, a sense of purpose?
Sense of purpose, okay.
In 1986, IBB made some sweeping declarations, a decree. In one decree, it struck off our three major imports from America.
Okay.
Wheat, flour, and sugar. Yes? Wheat, flour, and rice.
Rice, because I know it's rice. Yeah. Yeah.
Flour and rice.
Rice, yeah.
I we struck it up in one decree.
Mm.
Margaret Thatcher's husband came out with a team of Americans. They came and pleaded with Ivy, begging this man. They have made up his mind. And when he made the beg, the breweries came and pleaded with him, please, give us 6 months to plant corn and buy new machinery. He said, we made the beg. Beer was no longer sweet to drink. Beer became bitter. It's called beer.
Okay.
Now, Ivy made connections to the orange. We started importing soap, cheap soap from India. Life was affordable. If you have a head and your direction, you can walk your way out and send your children abroad from doing small things like selling this. I remember that I was really woman who said my all our children school abroad, not just selling country. You know, life was affordable, life was easy, life was believable, life was something you could do, live comfortably with. Nigerians were doing all over the world. Once you have it, it shows. But now nothing adds up. And the British, before, way back like 1947, they set up HEP that still exists here today. They set up railroads that still exist today. They did a lot of things. They were progressive planning.
Mm.
Now, when you talk of the British, are they ruling this country? You see,
But let's even do that part. The British, are they ruling the country? Let's be honest. Are they really ruling the country?
Yeah, no. It's like this.
But now, okay, I choose to differ a bit because we get to see that every election, very soon now, literally 6 months before election now, these guys who pack themselves are now literally towing themselves in Chatham House in what's called UK. Yeah. What are they doing there?
There's a reason for that.
Please explain to me.
When you are an apprentice.
So which means Nigeria is an apprentice.
Listen, when you're an apprentice,
okay,
your master is Lord of your destiny.
Okay.
When you're an apprentice, your master is. Now let's use the India. India is the model to use.
Okay.
India was the biggest nation in the world under Great Britain.
Yeah.
Now, Banana became, you walk to my country, you're going to walk out. How we just you see now? So this man troubled them, they had no choice but that because they told them we'll leave or do one thing. They what? We're going to split in two. Muslims go one way, the rest of you go another way. They said no, don't just give us inside out. They said no, where your master, they'll tell you what to do. They brought a rivalry between Pakistan and India till tomorrow.
Mm.
That was legacy. That split consumed the life of my father.
Okay.
So it was a win, but it was a loss.
Mm.
So your master determines your destiny. It is of optimal interest to win a good pleasure.
So let's agree. Let's agree at this moment that Britain is the master of Nigeria.
The way our colonial masters, our fathers and everything.
So, but how come we are still loyal to them all the time that we cannot be able to?
Wait, listen. Just follow me step by step.
Okay.
They saw legal families in Yoruba land after 100 years, lawyers and all that. They didn't choose them. They went to the interior villages and selected Awolowo and selected Aziki.
Okay.
And sent them to Britain and trained them as lawyers.
Okay.
And when they came back, He started to sing another song.
Okay.
So there were disillusioned about the sound. They were disillusioned about the Igbo man and the Yoruba man. And the Hausa man has a very simple way of life. So they that was the consequence that they were Muslims. They took the Hausa man and put on the offers.
Okay.
And they fashioned out our destiny like that. So we did not win the good pleasure of our masters. So they set us on a confused path. Just like they did India, that's what they did. Although India's case was worse. Our confusion is in our mind, is black mentality. So the South did not win the good pleasure of their master, their father. So they didn't get the father's blessing. I was vital and essential to make it in life. Your father's blessing is determining your destiny. So that's where we are. That's where the confusion started.
I think with this very particular conversation, family, to be very honest, the reason why I'm breathing this deep is from my caller just now. I think, and one of the things there were sometimes when I look at this, that why is it that at the current Nigeria that we have, we see that every average Nigerian literally, by the time that they are putting their children to school, it's for the children to be structured in such a way whereby they jackpot out of the country. From the call, I think in my few days being in the country and stuff, I'm so shocked that I see a lot of British American school in Nigeria compared to most of the what's called schools in other African country. Why is there a lot of British Nigerian school in Nigeria? And yet, I mean, British Nigeria, British America, British, in fact, the only one I've not seen is what's called is British South Africa in Nigeria. Well, at least there's British America, British Nigeria, Nigerian Canada, and all of this very particular thing. My question there is this: 65 years. When are we ever going to get to the point where our educational system or the system of education that we need to learn? Because yes, you are going to what's called, God bless you today, you decide to train your children, you send them out to the West. By the time they are coming back, they are coming with a westernized mindset to come and bring it back again into the country. Don't you think that that is an educational construct of mental slavery back into Nigeria, even from your children? Think on that very particular one. Because yes, you take your children, you put them in British school. The British are literally in their west side and stuff, but your children is being doctored, cultured, for lack of a better word, confused into thinking that what is from the west is good, and they come back with a west culture back after their time of schooling is over into a Nigerian market that you and I know too well that the 80% of the population of Nigeria are not exposed to the British concept. That is why even me as a VC, literally, I think I was saying to a particular colleague of mine, I said, see, I'm not, at this moment when it comes to the VC side of things with Nigeria and co, I'm beginning to change my blueprint because why? The VC template that we use in terms of getting business people, probably getting entrepreneurs for them to come, and this is me honestly saying this, the reason why is because it doesn't fit the Nigerian market. It doesn't fit the African market. Currently now, when we're trying to do fundings for organization or fundings for individual, the template we're still using is a template from the from the British, what you call colony, or the template from America. 5 years plan, 7 years plan, all of this very particular plan. What is your KPI? How do you want to, you know all the things we ask you. I do ask those questions. What is the exit plan? The guy is trying to even find the urgent 2K. You're already telling him to think of exit plan, whether it is via IPO or probably via selling of shares, or maybe we buy. He doesn't know that. I could say all of this one because, well, I'm part of the beneficiary of self-education when it comes to the whole concept of this very particular VC side of things. But how many Nigerians knows that? You are sponsoring your children for your children to go study abroad, to come back to the Nigeria, or for some of you, like, God forbid. As I just say, come back now. I'm already seeing some certain parents and some certain individuals are doing, God forbid, it's not going to happen. I reject it for my children. It's okay. One day they will come back. I'm like that. Who believe that after 2 decades I will still come back to Nigeria and stuff. But at the end of the day, one day they will come back. When they come back, the system they are going to find in Nigeria, and that is why the question is saying, who truly owned Nigeria? Was independent literally a change of administration or a strategy for them to be able to make Nigeria look like a stock market? Who truly owns Nigeria? After the Biafra war and stuff, what happened? Was this, what you call the stakeholders, do they change or they remain constant? Truly owns Nigeria. Currently in Nigeria, an average Nigerian literally wants to jackpot. I was speaking to a particular friend of my, chances I'm not going to mention his name. He's currently now in Canada, and I was like, I'm okay. Because why? And literally, I think the other day I was talking to somebody, and we were both talking about the medical side of things, the medical line of Nigeria, where I'm trying to remember who was I talking to. but I know it was somewhere this week and co. Do you know that regardless of how our education is and co, if an average doctor wants to leave Nigeria and to go outside to go and practice, they literally put them into a program back into school, sometimes minimum 1 year, sometimes 2 years. And my question is, this doctor literally has a hospital in Nigeria. The doctor literally, probably if he doesn't have a hospital, was working in a hospital. He knows his game. But when this guy leaves Nigeria and his family, they go back to school in that very particular place. Who are we deceiving and who are we fooling? Who? And when that doctor now, I think the other day I was saying medical guys, they are planning to go on strike. Let me even use this one to appeal to our government. Government, please. I use whatever you are serving to beg you. Whatever that, because I can't say I use God. Some of you don't serve God. So whatever you are serving to beg you, I use that thing to beg you tonight. I wish I can go on my knee, because if I do that now, the mic will not be that clear. But I use God, beg you. And anything that is of importance to you that you are serving, please, can you look into our health sector? Please, I'm begging you, look into our health sector. Our health sector currently now is literally in shambles. Our doctors are living on a per second billings. The best doctors in the world are Nigeria, not practicing in Nigeria, but outside of Nigeria. The average Nigerian, I have my younger sister who is out there, who also work with him, what's called the medical guys and stuff. Do you know that literally when she was giving me an example, this thing was very funny when she said, it makes me laugh, that a 3-month salary in UK can literally, for the doctors and depending obviously on this thing, can literally successfully help you buy a house in Nigeria. I say, eh? And a Nigerian doctor currently cannot even survive with the urgent 2K that they are getting. Nigerian government. Okay. I actually wanted to call my ancestor, but I just remember that I'm still a Christian on the other side. But Nigerian government, I'm pleading, please. We are human beings. We are not animals. I know that, yes, you have blocked your side. You are living in a world where nothing can touch you. Chances are you have put some certain protections in the area where if they want to throw bomb to where you are currently, it won't meet you and stuff. But at the end of the day, you are president to people, not president to goats. At the end of the day, you are president to family, not president to animals. At the end of the day, you still have to come out. And even though we have to lie because you have given us urgent 2K to wave a flag and to say that you are good and stuff, at the end of the day, still consider that we still have to be alive. I know that you guys have mastered weaponizing of poverty. Let's be honest, you guys have mastered weaponizing. You've mastered weaponizing of poverty. You've mastered weaponizing of religious divide. You've mastered weaponizing of what you call even the faith that we practice. You have mastered those very particular things. Now you have also mastered the new one. You have mastered what you call influencers and how to use that to literally get your game passed across to your people. My question tonight again one more time, as my time begins to wrap up, which is a conversation that I need you all to have in your own private space, is literally who truly owns Nigeria. 2027, January, we'll be having presidential election. Do we still want to continue what we're having currently or want something better? And if we want something better, are we going to hold the current administrations accountable to say, if you really want us to vote for you, these are the terms and conditions that needs to be on the table so that by the time you are coming 2027, we shouldn't be panicking whether we want to vote for you or not. I'm sorry, I'm going to mention his name. He didn't pay me for advert, but I'll mention, when I see good thing, I talk. The governor of Abia State, Alex Oti, good. Governor Alex Oti, please, I use God, beg you, sir, because I have to use God now this time. I use the creator of the universe. Please, I beg you. I know pressure is on your side. I know that things that are currently coming your way, let me even look at the camera to say it. I know that things are coming your way that literally want to make it look as if they want to compromise you. But please, I beg you, put the people's heart. Keep the people's heart interest. Keep it. Keep it. I'm seeing in the news, I'm seeing the things that you are doing. I am so proud of what you are doing. I know, I must say this, sir. I know that it is not easy. I know that, yes, they are coming for you. I know that chances are like what happened with Peter Obi. Maybe they are plotting something now, but I beg you, we are praying for you. And to the Abians, please hear me. Come 2027, I don't know if it's 2027 or 2028, when you are going to do your Abia election, please let this man just continue so that there should be light. When I mean light, I'm not talking about the 1884 to 1885 is the Berlin Conference, which is known as the external carving of Nigeria. The Berlin Conference, external carving of Nigeria. At that very particular conference, the key outcome of what they do is the fact that Africa was partitioned without African representations. Does that make sense why you find out that every time that African countries and a leader wants to make something different, they have to go back to whoever colonized them to get an answer for what it needs to do for its people? Second outcome on that place is effective occupations becomes legal doctrine for claiming territory. So which means if you have to get a good job in Nigeria, including including the presidential position, you are still loyal to that very particular system. Number 3, the Niger region was allocated to the British interest. That's the reason why every time our leader wants to sneeze, they have to go to the British to ask them, should we sneeze or not? So Nigeria as a modern state did not exist yet. What existed where? That time in 1884, what existed at that time was the Sokoto Caliphate, the Oyo empires, the Benin Kingdom, the Igbo Republic community, and also what we know as the Kamen Bronu. These were the things that were in operation at that very particular time. And before we know what is going on in the corporate rule, we get to find that the Royal Nigerian Company, which in quote has now morphed into the Nigerian Unilever PLC. I'm saying it as one of my callers says. I like just having fun with my caller. The corporate rule of the Nigerian, what's called the Royal Nigerian Company, and one of their facts, before the colonial government of things, Nigeria was effectively controlled by this very particular corporation, the Royal Nigerian Company. They were the one controlling. And the Royal Nigerian Company was literally a company set up by the British again back. When I ask who truly controls Nigeria, I know where I'm coming from. And we get to see that at that very particular point, fact that was on ground was the fact that it granted the Royal Charter that charter was granted to them in 1886. Controlled trade along the Niger rivers. They signed cohesive treaties with the local rulers. Remember, they signed. So when you find your rulers, whether it is the Oyo ruler, whether it is the Sokoto or the Benin or the whatever, there was a treaty that was signed. My question to you, listening to me from all of these regions, what treaty do you know that your people have signed that is affecting you in progressing moving forward? What is the treaty? And so you must understand that very particular one. And also before then, we now have the colonial Nigeria, which happens in the 1900 to 1960. That was a full-blown 60 years of the crown rule, which was then ruled by if I'm not mistaken, I know that time it was the late Queen of England, which a lot of it was done by her. But in Nigerian context, we see that in Nigeria, it was literally managed by the man called Lord Lugard, which then amalgamated in northern Nigeria and the southern protectorate. And part of the thing that was very strong on that very particular thing is the fact that there was an indirect rule which governs through traditional rulers. It's an indirect rule, but it passed through traditional ruler. We get to see that during the crown rules, which is the colonial Nigeria at that time, there was extractions of economy, which means like what MOJ was trying to say to us, there was palm oil extraction, there was cocoa extraction, and there was granite extraction. And part of the things also they succeeded to do at that very particular point was the whole issue of divide and rule government. They divided us. The moment you see the Northerns are saying that the Southerns and the Easterns are not the same, this is where it started from 1900 to 1960. We were not like this before. Nigerians here, we were not like this before. We were not like this. And that's why when I asked the question, who truly owns Nigeria? I know what I'm asking you. Who truly owns? I know you are listening to me, you say, I don't care, I just want to do my business, make sure that my children is fine and cool. Like I said in one of the protests I did in South Africa, I said, see, and literally we have to all come together and find a way of solving that community problem. Now you get to see that very particular community where I think it was in Rhodeport, for those of you who are familiar, but permit me, let me just call them. The difference between Rhodeport and Helderkreen is the fact that there is this very particular slum that's by the side. I was afraid and I had to call the elite in that community. See, guys, if we don't solve this guy that we're seeing across the road, one day they will cross our fence and come to this side and they will eat us all. And when I said that, everybody was looking at me. I was not until when they literally, in quote, unlifed some person, that's when they now take it very serious. And what we do, we put a fund together with the presidents of this other side of the street. We put a fund together to build the community, put systems and structure for them. And that is how the community where I belong, we find peace. One day is coming. You would think that Aso Rock is protected. You would think so. Even you, mama, papa, thinking that your house has the whole bulletproof and everything. Nigeria is a boiling country. It's like the gas has been lit. It's just the fact that we are waiting for somebody to play with matches and everything is over. The gas is currently leaking across the 36 provinces of Nigeria. It's just waiting for some mampara that will just throw their cigarette on the floor and boom, everything will explode. So as much as yes, you are trying to say, no, I don't want to talk about Nigeria, I'm not interested in Nigeria, blah, 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 you are still spending naira. Be interested. Be interested. Let me say it like South Africa. Be interested. Be interested. This is still your country. If you leave your house now and you step on the floor of your gate, that's a Nigerian gate. Be interested. And we also see when it comes to the independence in 1960, what happens there. I have 5 minutes to call this a wrap. It's the fact that Nigeria gained independence in 1960. The key leaders then were Nnamdi Azikiwe and Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. But here is the structural truth about that. The colonial economic system remains. In 1960, I remember I have a guest on my show. He said the curriculum of Nigeria education is still 1960. And I choose to agree that's the truth. The curriculum of Nigeria, how do we use Nigeria 1960 to solve a 2026 problem? Now, this is the thing about that. The colonial economic system remains. Multinational corporations retain dominance, and oil extraction licenses were already positioned before the 1960 happens. Is that the reason why we get to see that the resources in the West, or probably the resources outside of the North, belongs to Nigeria, but the resources in the North belongs to whoever? I'm not calling names. It's a question that you and I literally need to be able to look out for. Right here on the Armed Forces Radio, as I bring my thought to a close tonight, I believe that these few conversations we've been able to have tonight, you are literally sitting back and thinking your own contribution to the ecosystem of things as to how can it get better. If this Nigeria will have to change, what part are you going to play? What moves are you going to make? What actions are you going to take? What conversations are you going to have? It's a question that you have to answer. Please follow us on all our social media platforms as the AfriOne Show, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and most importantly, on our YouTube channel. For those of you who missed the show for tonight, definitely by tomorrow, the show will be uploaded on our YouTube channel for you to be able to capture all of this very particular conversation, and so that you can then be able to literally think through. Nigeria is possible. A better Nigeria is possible, but that can only be done by better governance, a better mindset of its people, where we are not thinking from a 2K urgent kind of mindset, but we're thinking from a standpoint where solution is all that we want to bring on the table. I want to say a very big thank you to my sponsor, Charlotte Prime Homes, and also to the stakeholders of the Armed Forces Radio, and also to the producer, Omops. Thank you so, so much for making the show a reality. And also to my amiable deputy, that's what I call him, Echo, who is literally behind the camera. I appreciate every one of you. And also to my awesome driver, because everybody is playing their own parts to make sure that at least I'm still standing here. To my driver, thank you so much. And every one of the callers who have called on this very particular show, permit me not to be able to mention your name, but you know yourself. Thank you for making sure the Armed Forces Radio AfriOne Show is literally still up and running. I really appreciate you all, my family. I'll see you on a subsequent production, which is going to be next week, Wednesday. There's an announcement that will be coming up very soon. Please just keep your dial on every Wednesday from now at 7 p.m. And anything changes, we're going to let you know. I remain your host, the Afropolitan Apostle, Darlington Steve. You can find me on all my social media platform as literally the Afropolitan Apostle. You can find me there. And if you're interested one more time in sponsoring our shows or supporting an entrepreneur, I want to encourage you to give us a call on 080-7246-3771. One more time, 080-7246-3771. I remain your host, the Afropolitan Apostle. I'll see you next time. Bye, and God bless you.